Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. HVK all day. Let's get it, man. All right, so in this video, I want to talk about how I haven't smoked weed in 1,640 plus days. This is coming from somebody that used to smoke every single day. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first started smoking, bro, I smoked pretty much continuously for like 5 years straight, right? And in this video, I kind of want to talk about like basically, my story. I made a couple videos on this channel about, weed and things like that, but I basically stopped smoking like 4 years ago, if you would put it into that perspective. But basically, that's the equivalent towards the days that I'm talking about. Around November 4 years ago, I just quit cold turkey, bro, and I just want to talk about it a little bit. So when I first discovered, weed, guys, like it was like the best thing ever. It was like a new discovery. You guys know how it is, man. It was just like a whole nother world, right? And you meet people through it, and you have like all these different experiences because of weed. And yeah, man, it just kind of becomes ingrained into your personality, right? Into like the people around you and just stuff like that. And I feel like weed, obviously, like it served its purpose in the time being. I'm not bashing people that do smoke or whatever the case is, because everybody's on their own individual journey. So this is just like from my personal experience, guys. Like, um, I used to smoke back then, right? And now I don't, right? So like when I first discovered it, like I said, it was like the best thing ever. You know, um, just met a lot of people through it. I feel like it made me more open-minded. I used it like for fun in the very beginning, right? It was just more of a fun thing. But like the following years after that, it was like more of a spiritual thing, right? It was just I would use it kind of like with more intentions, right? Like I would just kind of be very selective in who I would like smoke with, because not everybody you would vibe with, right? Like there would be people where their energy was just like kind of like you wouldn't really want to be around that, right? And when you're like smoking, it just amplifies that. So towards the end, it was just something that like I kind of wanted to do more on my own. So I would just kind of go like in nature, go to the creek or go to the field or go somewhere, right, where there's like a lot of greenery and just smoke. But like what made me kind of want to stop is just like over the years it just became like a drag. No pun intended, man. But yeah, like I said, bro, like back when I first started, I didn't have a job. Like I was like a teen, right? I was like barely like in 10th grade, right? So that's where I first started. And then, after high school, I kind of continued it for like 3 years after that. But yeah, man, like it's just something that kind of falls into your life sometimes. And like I said, it served its purpose in the time being. But like I remember I would always have to get money. I would always have to figure out a way to get money. So that was one thing that started getting annoying. Is just always needing money to go pick it up, right? And then the second thing was just like that was one cycle, right? It's just constantly having to spend money on it. The second thing is constantly having to find somebody that had it, right? And just those two things is just like a loop, a cycle, right? Just spending money and then having to get more money, and then just yeah, it was just like a constant thing, right? And the other thing was just feeling stuck, right? It's just kind of like I said, like weed just kind of slowly becomes ingrained into your personality. So when I wasn't smoking, like I just didn't know what to do. Like I felt off, right? I didn't know how to be myself. Um, but like everything revolved around weed, right? So that was another thing, is just feeling stuck and feeling incomplete without it, right? And yeah, but like I said, like the first year or like two, it was like the best thing ever. But like slowly over time, it just became more of a hassle. It just kind of it started being like more negatives than positives, right? Um, just feeling just overall just stuck. Okay, like it was just a feeling of stuck and always having to, pick up, get money, just everything that goes around it, right? But like I said, man, like towards the end, it was just like I was doing it for such a long time that I didn't know how to not smoke. Like I didn't know how to not be sober, right? So I don't know. It's just kind of like over, like I feel like the last year that I started smoking it, like I just became more, you know, cautious when I was doing it. Because another reason was like the weed nowadays, bro, is so like altered. It's just so, messed with. Like it's not as organic as it once was back then. So they like amplify like the THC and everything like that, bro, to where you're like not even enjoying yourself, man. Like a lot of people, have anxiety and just feel all paranoid like from smoking weed, bro, is because it just affects your mind over time, man. Like it's just, the neuroplasticity and all that stuff, man. Like so what may have worked for you in the beginning, like over time, bro, like it probably doesn't have the same effect. So that's kind of how it was, like towards the end. Like I just kind of, it wasn't hitting me the same, right? Like it was just more of like an anxious high, right? Just feeling just, I was high, but it wasn't like I was comfortable in my skin, right? Like it was just like, something to do. But yeah, man, like towards the end, like I just felt like I stopped needing it. I was just more cautious about it. Like I wasn't, I was just smoking less and less of it. And, eventually, like I started getting like the pens, like the CBD pens, try to balance it out. But, you know, I was just like, take like little tolerance breaks here and there, and I would be like, man, like I feel like I don't even need it anymore. There comes a point in your journey, guys, where it feels like you don't need certain things anymore, but since you've been doing something for such a long time, like you don't know how to let go of it. So that's kind of the point that I was at, on my weed journey, is that I was doing it for such a long time that eventually, like, I didn't know how to, let go of it. But it was just, I don't know, it's just out of nowhere. Like I just kind of stopped cold turkey, right? Like the last year, it was just the last year that I was doing it. It was just less and less until eventually, I just around November, like I just completely just stopped, and then I haven't smoked since, man. Like just like that, bro. And usually, like when you move on with your life, guys, like you don't need to, like for me personally, like I wasn't keeping track of like how long I've gone without smoking, like counting days or streaks. Like you just stop, and then you just move on with your life, and then the years go by, the months go by, and then you just kind of look back on it, and it's just like not even a big deal. Okay, like people that do smoke or whatever you do in that moment, when you tell somebody that you haven't done something in this amount of time, it's like mind-blowing to them, right? But to the person that is actually, that has not been doing something, it just becomes their new normal, right? It just becomes like their new normal, like whatever. Like it's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it, man. That's basically like what it comes down to, like for me. And yeah, like for the past 5 years, guys, like all the, not the past 5 years, but the last 3 years that I haven't, or four actually, the past 4 years that I haven't been smoking, bro. Every time that I smell like the weed nowadays, bro, it just smells so altered, bro. It just smells like it's not natural at all, you know. And like I don't feel drawn to it at all, like back then I would take like little tolerance breaks, and when I would smell it or when there'd be people around, like the temptation was like way higher. Like I would actually feel like tempted to. But nowadays, having not smoked in such a long time, bro, like I actually feel repelled when it comes to weed. Like if somebody would be smoking around me, like I wouldn't be drawn to it at all. It would actually be the opposite. I would want to get away from that, because it just doesn't serve me, and it just like I feel way better without it. I remember when I stopped, I just felt more clear-minded, because I was trying to, like, I've always been into like health and like fitness and stuff, but weed was always something that was like kind of getting in the way of my progress, because I would want to work out, right? But eventually, like, I couldn't balance it out, man. Like, I would try to smoke, or I would try to work out, be disciplined, have consistency in the gym, but eventually, like, the weed would kind of outweigh the gym routine. So like it would be 50-50. Like I would hit the gym and I would smoke afterwards, and then the next day, I'd do the same thing, hit the gym, smoke afterwards. But it just kind of like adds up over time. Like the next day you feel more like lethargic from smoking the day before, so you're not gonna feel as motivated to hit the gym. And yeah, it just becomes like a quick dopamine hit at the end of the day, man. Like smoking weed just becomes like a quick dopamine hit. So instead of doing like long-term goals like hitting the gym, you just kind of like get lazy with it, and you just like I said, for me personally, so I started working out less, and I started just smoking more until eventually like I stopped working out completely, right? But once I cut off like weed, like I just had more, I had no longer had the brain fog. I felt more clear-minded, and yeah, man, it just one less vice to worry about. You know what I'm saying? One less vice to worry about, one less thing to spend money on. And it's a great feeling, man. Like the more vices you have in life, bro, like the more difficult life is, and the less vices that you have in life, bro, like the more easier life becomes, because you're doing difficult things, and it's just like you enjoy doing those difficult things, man, because they're more rewarding, right? Like hitting the gym is more rewarding, being sober is more rewarding, um all that stuff, man. Like you just feel more powerful as a person, mentally, physically, spiritually, when you're not tied to all these vices, bro. Like you feel like more of your authentic self. And yeah, bro, like I don't even need weed, bro. Like I'd be high on life already. You know, when you're sober, guys, when you're on SR, retaining your energy, and just doing the inner work, bro. Like inner joy, inner peace comes naturally on this journey, bro. And yeah, man. So like you be high on life, bro. Like a kid. You be having that same type of childlike energy, bro, like that you had before you even started smoking and drinking and being on the hub and doing all this low vibrational stuff. You become more like that. You just be feeling high on life, and you don't even need to smoke or anything like that. So, you know, video's getting a little long, but I just want to talk about that real quick, guys. Haven't smoked in 1,640 plus days, and yeah, it's a trip, man. Like, I don't ever see myself going back to that, man. Like, for what? I already overcame that part. Like, that served its purpose in the time being. There's no point in going backwards, guys. It's only moving forward and experiencing other things in life on a sober, conscious state of mind. Not always being out here like in a daze. Just spending your money and just all this stuff, bro. Being stuck in these cycles and loops and all that stuff, man. Like, yeah, but like I said, bro, everybody's on their own individual journey. So like, I'm not trying to bash anything, because it's basically like that type of energy of been there and done that, right? Like, so I don't even need to go backwards, right? Because a lot of people, like I said, bro, like when you have these vices, man, a lot of people are stuck in these things that is holding them back from moving forward in life. But they've been doing these things for such a long time that they don't know how to let go of it, because it's kind of part of their identity. They kind of intertwine the weed or the alcohol or the hub or whatever vice they have. They kind of intertwine with their personality. So when they don't have it, they just feel off. But it's a process, man. Like, you gotta rewire your mind. You gotta just change your thought patterns, bro. Like, your mentality creates your reality. That's a bar. So time changes everything, bro. Like, for me back then, like, I couldn't even imagine myself not even smoking for like a week, bro. And then now it's been 4 years since I've done it, and it's crazy, man. So that's pretty much it, man. That's all I wanted to talk about when it came to this. Is I haven't smoked in 4 years, and yeah, man, I'm high on life already. So that's pretty much it, guys. So I'm gonna just wrap it up with that. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. And with that being said, hope you guys have a good day, and I'm out. Peace.